What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today, going to be reviewing the 4th episode of Chucky, the TV series. In this episode, we see the aftermath of the party at Lexi's house, where the house pretty much burned down, where Chucky actually killed a kid, and where he attacks Lexi, and Lexi now knows that this little mother effer is alive. Gonna be spoilers in this review, as in all of these reviews, so you are warned. If you haven't seen the episode, if you haven't watched this series, I would suggest check it out first, then come back for the reviews. Chucky continues to be fantastic in this episode. The dialogue is hilarious. I will get to a couple of lines as I go through the episode. But first big positive, Chucky is awesome. And we also get a little new look because in that fire, about half his face got burned off, and it actually looks pretty damn cool. We've obviously had lots of different looks of Chucky, from the original doll that you can see right here. Then you had, of course, the completely burned, charred doll at the end of the original movie. Later on, we got different kind of looks like the stitched up Chucky from Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. You know, several different looks of the doll, not to mention the reboot movie. That was a weird looking doll. And this one looks awesome. This is a scary looking Chucky, like a vicious kind of, it's still a doll that's been burned. So people who don't know just think it's a burned up doll. But yeah, it's a scary looking Chucky, no doubt about it. We also got a little clue. A very important aspect to this episode was the first little clue, if you caught it, that maybe there's going to be multiple Chuckies. And there would be, right? Because the continuity, we are continuing from the story of Cult of Chucky. This is Don Mancini's universe. This is not a reboot. This is a sequel. So there has to be multiple Chuckies, and it would be the explanation for why this Chucky exists, looking like a clean Chucky doll found at a garage sale. How did it end up at that garage sale? How did it get possessed by Charles Lee Ray's soul? Well, remember, in Cult of Chucky, multiple dolls were possessed. In fact, at least 3 were possessed. 4 if you count that little head over at, Andy's house. Completely tortured, jacked up head that Kyle went to torture some more at the end in the post-credit scene. But just at the hospital in Cult of Chucky, there was 3 Chuckies. One with the no hair and a couple of others. One that ended up possessing Nika's soul at the end of the film. One that Andy stomped to death. I think that was the one with no hair, if I remember right. And then there was another one that maybe got out and about somewhere. Maybe that's the one that ended up at the garage sale, or maybe they possessed a whole bunch of souls for fun. Who knows what Tiffany and Nika, now Chucky, went to do after Cult of Chucky? That's probably going to get explained. Now, if I'm wrong on any of those facts because I haven't seen Cult of Chucky for a while, let me know if I'm wrong on any of those details. But obviously, somehow, some way, this Chucky got into circulation at that garage sale, possessed by the soul of Charles Lee Ray, and there's probably some more. And it made me think of the earlier episode where the housekeeper got killed and Jake went to Chucky, and Chucky just blatantly was like, I swear, I didn't do it. I swear. And we're watching like, damn, Chucky, not surprising he's going to be a liar, because the dude's a killer, but just kind of, he actually felt like he was telling the truth, but we knew he wasn't, right? Maybe he was. Maybe it was a different Chucky that killed the housekeeper. There could be some crazy reveals coming up in the next few episodes. But let's get back into the substance of episode 4. Other than that, just some interesting things that could come about here very, very soon. But this episode was a lot of fun. I thought it was a pretty good episode. Probably not my favorite. There was a cool argument between Lexi's parents and Junior's parents. That was a badass scene. And it just goes to show how Chucky's just tearing apart families, just wreaking havoc, even in areas that they don't even know that the doll is alive. And it's just insane. Love the scene of Lexi getting chewed out by her parents because she deserves it. She's sitting there crying, trying to say it's not my fault. And yeah, of course, it wasn't really completely her fault. She did throw that party. But yeah, Chucky's the one that burned the house down and killed someone. But still, her getting yelled at, she deserved every second of it. And then they finally said something along the lines of, haven't you tortured that kid enough? Talking about Jake. Because they know now that their daughter is an absolute bitch. But also, one of the main storylines of this episode is Jake and Lexi actually kind of getting together, kind of teaming up, trying to go back to the house. Now, on one hand, it does make sense. On a lot of horror films or horror TV series or whatever, you'll have something like this. You're like, dude, they would call the cops, they would get help, they wouldn't just go look for the killer. But they both know that nobody will believe them. And it's absolutely true. Nobody will believe a doll's doing it. Chucky's alive. No one's going to help or respond to it. They're just going to think the kids are absolutely insane. And they already think these kids are little cuckoos. So, yeah, it's definitely, a non-starter. So they went ahead and went to the house to investigate to see if Chucky was maybe still there. They're trying to stop him. They're going to make sure. They kind of just want to check, make sure he's dead, make sure that doll's been burned. and hopefully is done for. But as they find out, he's still alive. And then you have this scene where Chucky, well, first of all, there's a conversation between Lexi and Jake, and it's going back and forth. And first of all, Lexi's just horrified that Jake actually tried to kill her or sent Chucky to kill her, gave him to her little sister. Oh my God, of course she's absolutely just can't believe it, which makes me question, would she really want to go team up with Jake after all that? I don't know, but at the end of the day, they're the only two that know about this, so she has to go to someone, but she's not really obviously over this fact. So they're conversing. I'm waiting for Jake. I'm like, tell her, let her know, man. Say I did it because you deserve to die, because you're a bitch. You're horrible. You're a horrible human being. And I didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, oh, they're just talking. He says a few things and he keeps asking, are you okay? And she's finally freaks out, like, stop asking me that. Stop asking. He's like, I'm just trying to be nice. Well, you're not nice, she says. And I waited for him to say, you're not nice. You're horrible. But it just didn't happen. And then finally it did. Finally, he snapped and did exactly what I wanted. He's like, you're a bad person. I didn't want to just kill someone. I wanted to kill you. You're a horrible person. You pretended to be my dad. You dressed up like my dead dad, blah, blah, blah. And of course, she never apologized. She still hasn't seemed to grasp the fact that she's horrible. But I'm glad that he finally let her know. And that was the point where she somehow slipped and was about to fall over the balcony, and he's holding her, and Chucky's down there. It's a cool reveal. Chucky shows up. He's like, just let her go. And then he says something funny I was talking about earlier, some funny lines. Just let her go, that vicious Karen on training wheels. His delivery was much better. It was actually pretty hilarious. But, that was an interesting scene. Now, obviously, it was kind of funny because at first he could have just dropped her to the floor. She probably would have been fine. Obviously, she wasn't that far off the ground because Chucky was able to jump up and try to slice her. But that became, once Chucky showed up, dropping her would have been the end of her because Chucky was going to, cut her up into little pieces. So obviously Jake had to make a choice, decided to pull her up and save her, which, a little character moment there. And then the cop comes to pick him up, and this cop was just completely annoying and very odd from the start. And he takes them two, and Chucky picks up the Chucky doll, which is like burned up, and he says, oh, this is, they asked me to come get this doll for your little sister, talking to Lexi. So cop takes them to the hospital and whatnot. But meanwhile, he's carrying the Chucky doll around and being annoying. And he tries to get some food out of the vending machine. The vending machine doesn't work. He's trying to reach in there. Then he starts eating up all the little sisters' like donuts and little snacks that they brought for her. But the guy keeps eating all these donuts and powdered donuts, and the powder's falling over Chucky. And Chucky's getting annoyed. Finally wakes up to kill this dude. He goes, throws a knife in his back, and he goes down. Gets on him and starts saying some other funny stuff, such as, I don't remember the exact words, but, I hated your face since you first showed up. Basically, he just says the same things that we've been thinking the entire time about this cop. Then he kills him, with a bunch of needles and boom, 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 syringes, and just a vicious, insane kill scene. Then he actually unplugs the little sister, which kind of surprised me because I thought they were friends, but Chucky doesn't care. Chucky will kill him. Chucky will kill Jake. At some point, he will be attacking Jake, I'm sure, in this series. But he unplugs the little sister. So, they come in to help her because it looks like she's in trouble. One of the hospital nurses or doctors, I'm not sure, sees that, plugs it back in, and then all of a sudden, they see the dead body. Everyone starts screaming. Lexi and Jake glance over at Chucky, and he gives them the little finger. And that was pretty much the end. And there was also a young Charles Lee Ray, but a little bit older than he was previously. Now he's kind of a teenager, and they're showing him in this home, and it was a pretty awesome sequence as well. I love the effects on how it looks a little older. You can even hear like a little reel going, so it feels like it's actual film. Really old with some lines and stuff. Not over the top that you can't even see what you're looking at, but just enough to give it a little flavor that this is older. This takes place in the 60s or something like that, 50s, I don't know. That scene was really awesome where Chucky kills some custodian who was being kind of a jerk to him. Charles Lee Ray kills him. And there's 3 kids that Charles Lee Ray is, they kind of look up to him. They're very younger kids, and they're kind of following him around, and he's playing around with them. He tells them stories, and, he's not a very good influence. Obviously, he cusses in front of them, and they learn to cuss and things like that. But he kills this guy, leaves him out in the woods somewhere. They go out to find him on some little quest to find Captain Hook. Absolutely hilarious. They find him, and not surprisingly, most of the kids, or at least 2 of the kids, are like completely horrified and run off. But then one kid stays behind and looks like he's into it. And that's when Charles Lee Ray knows, okay, this kid is cool, and even says, like, you got guts, kid. Kind of like that other killer said to Chucky when Chucky was even younger. And it turns out that this kid is named Eddie. So he's Eddie Caputo. And if you remember from the first movie, Eddie Caputo is kind of accomplice of Charles Lee Ray, but they have a falling out, if you will. And, if you know what happened there, that is interesting, though, that's a little flashback there, a little callback. And, maybe some might consider it on the nose or whatever, but I mean, he had to have met Eddie Caputo at some point. So we're shown that little callback, little fan service moment. And, I don't mind it because this TV series is not full of like stupid fan service moments. They're few and far between, but that one is pretty cool. Overall, I'd say, this episode didn't have as much meat on the bone, but there was a lot of just little clues to what's going to happen with the multiple Chucky. The Eddie Caputo callback's pretty cool. And there is a pretty awesome kill in this one. And there are funny lines from Chucky as well. So overall, it had everything that I've been looking for, everything that's been in pretty much the other episodes, except a little teasing of what could happen. And it gets me very curious for what's going to happen. But the only thing I don't like is, they are kind of trying to make us, I think, kind of like Lexi, or say, Lexi's cool now. No, Lexi's not cool now. Lexi's not cool. And I bet that she's going to be around for a while. I don't think they're going to kill her off. They had their chance to do that and didn't. And they made her just too terrible. And I don't see myself ever liking her under any circumstances. I hate Lexi, and I want Chucky to get that bitch. Other than that, though, I really enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you guys thought down below. I'm going to give this episode a 9.4 out of 10, which is an excellent score so far. This series is fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the multiple Chucky's thing? How do you think? Oh, we also got some, because his buddy, Jake's buddy, Devin, was doing some research and actually started reading about, all the characters we know, Tiffany, Nico. So we're getting our first clues, our first mentions, our first looks at those characters. They will be back very, very soon. Wow, this is going to be nuts. I can't wait to find out what happens later. So we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you for checking out this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the 4th episode of Chucky, and we'll talk to you next time.